And one. Well, hey, Dave Molenda here, Positive Polarity Podcast. Hope things are going awesome for you this week. I got a great question. I got an even better guest, so strap in because this is going to be a great time together here today. And my question is, and it's about your clients. It's kind of a cool question. And the question is, do you share your clients' values and do they share yours? A lot of times we're looking for people that will do as long as they fog a mirror, as long as their check clears. There's all these weird things that people don't care about. And I found somebody that owns a company that their core values are huge, which again, we're going to go through today. But the important thing as we keep these in discussion today is realization that your client needs to have the same core values as you. Otherwise, you're going to have a train wreck. It's not going to be nearly as effective. So I am honored to be hanging out with Ryan Carpenter today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you're the owner at Third Coast IT in the metropolis of Greenfield, Wisconsin. We finally get to get back home after all our travels. I've been around the world with guests lately, so I'm excited to be back home in Wisconsin. So fill us in on Third Coast IT and what's going on over there today.
Yeah. Third Coast IT. We're a managed service provider based here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are heavily compliance driven. Um, really, our main two responsibilities that we do for the people that we care for. It's number one, make sure that their information doesn't disappear, and number two, make sure that their computers work when they walk through the door in the morning.
Yeah, isn't that
So
crazy what we take for granted? How we want things to work, and then when they click the button and it doesn't work, man, it's like crazy how stressful that gets so quick. So thanks for jumping in our call today. And I want to start out by so you have these core values, and I really think this is powerful for the listener because you as the entrepreneur business owner listening, you create your own core values, whatever they are. There's no right ones, there's no wrong ones. In this case, Ryan created six of them, which we're going to go through, but I'm going to go through them more from a thought process of, what are your core values as the listener, number one, and number two, are your customers in alignment with that? So that's what we want to work on today because I really think number one, we all have core values. We may not know what they are. We may not, share them with the world. But I just want to start from that spot there, Ryan. So early, you're about 9 years in on this venture with Third Coast IT. Is that correct?
yeah, in that name, we've been around for about 20 years,
Okay.
and yeah, so it all started as I came out of school. I graduated locally from UWM here, got a management information systems degree from the School of Business. And I had a friend that they asked me to come in and help him where he was working. They needed to stand up a server, run computer cabling, and they were looking for somebody to manage the network. And I said, "Yeah, I can do that. That's what I went to school for." So we went in there, we ran the wires, we got the server running, put in a firewall, and they started managing their PCs, and that was the beginning.
Wow.
So
Wow. Well, you and I are in completely opposite ends of the world, Ryan, because what all you just said, I have no clue what you just said. Other than I heard, Charlie Brown's teacher of blah, 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 because I'm like firewalls, I'm like, I pay people to do that. I don't know the first thing about it. So did you know, so you right out of college, you got this opportunity. Did that turn you into the entrepreneur world like right away? Did you work in corporate America at all, or did you head right into your own business?
yeah, it was really an interesting journey. I'd picked up a customer. It was actually a friend of mine. Her father actually hired me, and eventually I became very close. And he was working in dental. So he was doing intraoral cameras for dentists to take pictures of teeth.
Okay.
And it was right about the time where they were trying to bring net camera into the computer because previous to that, it was just they take the pictures and they print them out and you couldn't save them anywhere.
Okay.
So I helped that make happen, and it was also during the advent of digital radiography, so digital X-rays. And so that was the next thing that we got into. And then we were supporting all the computers and supporting their practice management systems where they keep all their patient records. And then eventually that, really rolled into more of a security role. There, we used to do all the fun stuff, Dave. We'd bring in all the equipment, we'd set up the all of the computers, and and the printers and the scanners and the signature pads, and then they started doing a digital impressioning systems and digital X-rays and CT units, and it was all about setting up the systems and
Sure.
integrating everything, making everything work, and that was a lot of fun. But the next chapter that came was actually computer security because ransomware was born. So,
Well, so we hear ransomware. I don't even know what that is. So share with the world what ransomware is, and do I as a business owner need to worry about getting hacked in? I'm a little business with, three employees, some, 1099 people around me, and we use Google Docs and Sheets and blah blah blah, and so we're off everybody's radar, but I'm just curious when you say that word, for the listener, what does that mean?
yeah, it means that somebody encrypts your information and then they ask you for money to give you the password to unlock it.
Wow. That
And
doesn't even, oh my God. That's like, I don't even know what to do with that. I mean, there's people in this world that they're highly trained and they know how to get into my system, and then they password it, then they call me, email me, whatever, and say, hey, Dave, for $5,000, 100,000, whatever, I'll give you all your information back. That just seems like pretty nasty.
well, I grew up with it, and it it is absolutely nasty. Call it thievery, call it whatever you
Yeah,
want. And
yeah,
the social engineering that's happening these days,
yeah.
it is so difficult to protect yourself against things like this.
So
And
then you come in and align with the customer then at that point. So if it was me or somebody listening, if they're unsure about this, that's where Third Coast IT comes in. And, I'm assuming assesses the scenario and then gives recommendations based off that. But I think that the core, how the core values tie into this, what I think is really powerful is, some of them seem to be so like obvious. I'm like, I was when we were talking about it and I was preparing for Tim, like that doesn't even, they're so obvious. Like, why is this a core value? Like your first one, you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. I mean, that just seems to be like entry level, shouldn't even be a core value, but I totally understand it because in today's world, it's super easy to not do what you say you're going to do. So, before we go into those, I want to kind of just understand the journey. So, you start this company. Did you have your core values like right away? Was that something really important for you at the onset, or did it evolve over time?
that evolved over time. And I would say, about 10 years ago is when we actually drafted our true, written core values. And it's really been helpful. It's an exercise that I think every business should go through.
Yeah,
It's about how you treat your customers. It's about how you treat your employees. It's about how you do business. When we do reviews with our employees, we make sure that we are aligning on the same set of core values.
Sure.
When we look at bringing on new customers, we want to make sure that they are also in line with what we believe in our core values. And it's huge. It
Yeah.
just makes sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of what we believe in.
Sure. And it's funny, just last week I just did a half day or full day, three quarters of a day to be real. I did a three quarters of a day training with one company and their whole team. There was about 15 of us in the room, and they were working on their core values. And it was really helpful to have outside influence. So if you're a leader listening, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur listening, consider, and you don't have core values, consider, doing an exercise like that with an outside facilitator to really engage everybody. I mean, we started with over 100 words, just describe the company and describe what, words come to your mind. And we boiled those down into three sentences that were, they wanted three core values. And then what does that core value look like to the team? So when you did yours, have they changed over time, or is it something that just has stuck in the last 10 years and they're timeless in that respect?
No, I would say that bringing them down to a smaller number is a great idea. You don't want a massive list,
Right?
and you also want to get some traction. So yeah, we've created our core values, and we've stood by them, and it's become a cornerstone of our
Yeah.
business.
Well, and I think two things that come up in my mind is number one, it's kind of a litmus test for the customer. It gives them like as we go through these, the customer knows what to expect. The customer knows and are you able? So if I'm a customer in this case, and I'm thinking to myself that um, looking at these and let's say I don't see something working the way that, like you say, the first one, do what we say we're going to do. I mean, you're human, so there's times that you really don't say what you're going to do. Again, no disrespect. I do it. Most people have struggles with that, overcommitting or whatever. Are you getting your customers, do they have the right to say, hey, this is not in alignment with what you told me? Are you guys at that spot in a relationship with your clients?
Yeah, if we always have an open door policy, and we just want the customers to tell us the truth. Really, we are built on personable relationships. Our business, that is where we shine. We are a company that is big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. And so you get to know our office manager, you get to know our engineers, hey, you're going to get to know me, and yeah, we're going to help you make good recommendations for your business. We're going to be uh, absolutely, we want to listen to what you tell us
Yeah.
and make sure that we put something in place that makes sense for your business. So, we are not a cookie cutter, and we pay very close attention to the details, and we craft plans that make sense for the
Yeah.
people that we want to take care of.
Well, and so the other side of that, then, too, for anyone, listening right now and thinking about it, I mean, Ryan, you have to now know your customer a lot better because you have to determine if they do, in fact, line up and align with your core values. So are you doing that like in your interview process? I mean, if someone calls in and says, "Hey, I need some help," it's a lot of entrepreneurs are like, "Oh, great, how can I help?" And they go right into solving problems. They go right into that solution-based thought process. Not that that's bad, but how do you kind of vet those people to make sure that they align with your core values?
Yeah, I mean, really, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're able to get into a position where we can protect the business. And if we find through the conversation that we're not able to get into a place where we feel that we can keep you safe, we're going to say, hey,
Yeah.
this, it doesn't it doesn't do either of us any good to go into a relationship, that we know that, it's not solid,
Yeah.
right? We want to be positioned in a place where we have proactive things in place, where we can prevent bad things from happening, where when you call, we pick up the phone. I mean, our stance on security is much different than the majority of other computer places. So we've taken a proactive approach in terms of security.
Mhm.
And when I say that, it means that instead of having like a virus protection, or instead of having a security program that tells us, hey, looks like something's going on with your system, like what we have is proactive. And so in our security system, if there's any changes that try to be made,
Yeah.
there's a little pop-up that comes up on the customer screen and says, hey, are you really trying to do this? And if you are, tell us why. We get that note, and we evaluate the changes that are happening to the system.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
if it's a virus or if it's a threat
Yeah.
actor, we get, we insert a real person to understand whether that request is legitimate or not. And then we get back to them. And when we get back to them, if it is legitimate, the question is, hey, can we do that for you?
Yeah.
And people are like, really? You'd
Yeah.
install that upgrade, or you'd install that new printer, or,
Sure. Wow.
you would do this for us? And we say, yeah, that's why you
Yeah.
pay us.
Yeah.
That's, we want to be here to help you. And that's how we want to be positioned with our customers.
Well, and I think thinking outside the box in some of those pieces, like you get a printer nowadays, I don't know, and you get $100, $200, $300 printer, whatever. You plug it in and it works, right? I mean, it doesn't seem to be that complicated. Obviously, if there's multiple users and it's a big monster, 5, 10, $20,000, piece of equipment, that's, I'm assuming, where you jump in those things. But um, I just think that it's great to have a partner that you know who to call. We all are like, I have a guy, I have a girl for whatever it is, and making sure that you're in alignment with your customer. The customer just calls and says X. They don't need to go through a bunch of, can I trust this guy? Is Ryan going to do me right? I mean, when we look at these core values, like doing what we say we're going to do is the first one. I mean, like I said, it's simple, but yet it just really cuts right to I mean, we can just kind of jump in and start solving issues rather than have to worry about a bunch of ancillary stuff. So was that one like are these in order for you? Is that one like your core value, or are they all pretty equal in relation to importance?
Well, they all have a place. And in terms of doing what we say, the reason why we put so much weight on that one and put that one at the top is because taking care of computer systems is just inherently complicated.
Yeah,
And what we want to do is we want to make it simple. We want to make it seem easy,
yeah,
right? And anybody that you see that is really good at what they do, you look at them doing it and they don't look like they're working hard to make it happen. The figure skaters that are doing the triple axels,
yeah,
and and the swimmers that are breaking records, and they make it look so smooth and so
yeah,
easy. And that's, we want to make it look like that. But because it can be so complicated, it is so easy to mask things, inside of these service packages. And so I see us delivering, what we say we deliver, and
yeah,
we work very hard at doing that. And there are many ways where we can fall short, but we have excellent standard operating procedures. We do training with our staff. We have lots of checklists that we go through and make sure that things are in place
Sure.
because there's a lot of moving parts. So when I say we do what we say, that is because it's very difficult for the customer to understand everything that we do. And so internally, we do when we promise a customer we're going to do something, we do it.
Yeah.
And that's important to us. We always follow through on that.
Well, and that's where I think it's interesting because you're left, I as an entrepreneur business owner, if I had this big system that you were monitoring and taking care of and helping us with, I would be less concerned about what you're doing. Like, I don't even know the terminology. I just know I want it to work this way. I want it to be fixed. I don't want to have the worry about the ransomware. I don't want to have to worry about that. So, before we take a break, I'm just curious, do you feel like there's a knowledge gap between you guys and your customers? Because I always am intimidated talking to you about this because your knowledge is way up here, and I'm like in sixth grade, third grade when it comes to computers. I want to turn it on. I want to use my mouse. I want to print. I just want to, click the buttons and make it work. I don't need to know the I's and the ones and the zeros. I don't need to know all that stuff. So I think in all of these, it's got to be really important to connect with the customer. And actually, you have one about the importance of people, and it's one of your core values that, one of your values that we talked about was on your website. And I'm just curious about the people side and the rooted in trust. I think is really the piece there. I have to really trust you to be able to kind of turn the keys over to my computer, correct?
That's huge.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if we're communicating with you well, we're going to be able to have a easy conversation. We're going to talk in plain English. We are not going to go into any geek speak. We're going to tell you straight up, what it is, how to do it. And we want to have transparency. And
yeah,
we're always striving just to make it easier to understand.
awesome,
And
cool.
so we're going to take all of those big acronyms and us computer people, we swim in them.
Yeah,
They are all over the place. Even, you know, MSP or RMMs or AV or, uh,
yeah,
just all of the different, acronyms that people use. And we just say, hey, let's just talk to you in plain English so you
sure.
can understand us, understand, what we're trying to do. We want to keep you safe. We want to keep you running. Here's a toolbox of
Yeah,
tools that we use. And, we also need to put some training into you and your staff because these days, like from the technical perspective, it's pretty easy to get things locked down. But
yeah,
from the people perspective, that's been the gap that it's more difficult to close because instead of dealing with, widgets and gadgets and softwares, we're dealing with people. And
yeah,
people have personalities and they have lives and it's not easy to get security awareness training into everybody. And we need to make sure that we're working as a team because
sure.
this is no longer a hey, oh, my computer people, they got that handled, no
Yeah,
problem. If you have somebody that a threat actor knocks on the door and they come up to the front door and they look through the peephole and they see somebody there and they unlock the door, open it up, come on in,
yeah.
yeah, hey, oh yeah. Mr. UPS guy. Well, I've never seen you. You don't look like your normal UPS guy, but you got a package, so you must be UPS. Come on in.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we need people to understand that, you need to approach everything when it comes to cybersecurity in terms of it's a threat.
Yeah.
Every email, every phone call, every text message. Hey, Dave, are you getting messages from random people that are saying,
Yep.
"Hey, I heard you just got back from vacation, or let's do lunch.
Yeah. I just got two texts that said our money was out of our toll thing, and you're about to get charged X amount of dollars. And it's like, is this real? Is it not? Click here to find out. I'm like, I learned that's the only thing I learned out of this so far is don't click, you know,
Well, that
don't click
that's
on,
huge. And if
so
you would have approached that message as being illegitimate,
yeah,
that is, an excellent security posture, right?
yeah,
That's where we want to train our people to get to be. Because me, as a person that's trying to take care of you and
yeah,
keep you safe, it's training to say that, Dave, there are a ton of messages that you're getting on a regular basis that are going to take you to places. They're going to try and get you to put in your username and password. After you do that, they're going to try and prompt you to get your 2FA code or any additional information that it takes to get into that account. And then they're going to take that information and they're going to try and move laterally to a system where they can get money.
yeah.
So
Oh. So I shouldn't have gave them my social security number and my credit card. Was that a mistake?
well, that would be the first thing in training is never,
Yeah.
ever give anybody your username, password, or credit card information.
There you go. Well, you heard it
So
here
you
first. Awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to fly through the second half because I really like what we have coming up. So we'll be right back.
sounds great.
Welcome back. Honored to be hanging out with Ryan Carpenter. He is the owner at Third Coast IT, and we are talking about core values. And again, I want to remind you listening, if you don't have core values, create some. You can steal, Ryan's if you want, but there are plenty of ways that you can create a list of core values. They're very important to the customer. They're also one question we were talking about people before, Ryan. I'm assuming the core values are like very key in hiring for you. So when you kind of walk through your hiring process, how do you integrate those core values into that process?
Yeah, there's we always want to make sure that the people that are coming in to work with us to have the same types of values that we do. And yes, doing what we say, making sure that they are helpful, making sure that they're knowledgeable. And the one that I enjoy the most is that they should expect to have some fun. And we bake that into our cake. That
Yeah,
is one of our secret ingredients. If we're here having fun with what we do, like
yeah,
it doesn't seem like so much work. And it makes everything so much better. Like people are happy, it's enjoyable, and we want to extend that out to our customers too. We just did we came back from a wonderful local show. It was a convention put on by Custom Dental Solutions, and it was called the Course Crawl. It happens on an annual basis. We work for a ton of dentists,
okay.
and so we see a lot of our customers down here, and we host a table. And every year we've done some type of event. So we've done we kicked it off with minnow racing. That was incredible. We did some hammerschlagen. Um, that was a lot of fun. We had some virtual wakeboarding that we did.
Wow.
On the big screen, and then this year we did axe throwing.
Okay.
And so just
Wow.
putting a little bit of extra into what we do.
Yeah.
And it's always the little things. I mean, I'm to go from good to great. It's those smaller details that all make the difference to be able to make that happen.
Well, and I think that's another good point there, Ryan. If you're listening and you have core values, maybe they need to be brushed up on, maybe they need to be reviewed. I feel bad when I come into companies and ask them, do you have core values, a mission statement, vision statement? What do you have that defines your company? And some people are like, we don't have anything. Other people are like, well, there's something up on the wall, but nobody follows it anymore. I have a buddy that's down in Racine, Wisconsin, and they make small, tiny homes. And he's able to walk in to the plant and ask anybody on the plant floor, what are the core values of this company? And they just rattle them off without any question. So,
Awesome.
that to me is the power because I think of it like if we have a golf course and we build a brand new golf course, but we don't put a green and we don't put a hole out there, we don't know where to, we don't know where to, we're standing on the first tee box and there's no green and there's no hole. And I'm like, go ahead, Ryan, just tee off. And you're like, where am I going? It's like, I don't know, just tee off, man. It's gorgeous. Just hit the ball somewhere. I think that's how we are as entrepreneurs when we don't have a mission, a vision, core values in this case. It really brings you back to true north where you're able to say, hey, we're going to do what we say we're going to do. The other one we talked about was you're rooted in trust. We'll save the safety one for last. We're always helpful. I mean, when you think about that, we're also consumers as well. So we've all had these experiences where people are not helpful. People don't care about us, and we're the consumer with the money and we're not getting the help that we need. So again, some of these are very rudimentary and basic, but without them, your business wouldn't be where it is today because if you're not always helpful, or it says only be helpful when it's comfortable, only be helpful when it's profitable. It's always be helpful, and there's no asterisk after that, which is awesome. Um,
And let me
yeah,
ask you, David,
for
have
sure.
you ever called down to somewhere for, some type of support, and you can just immediately tell that the person on the other line is almost, it seems like they're purposely making it more difficult for you?
Yep, absolutely. I know, right? And it's just, I mean, again, we're consumers, and this is horrible that we have to even have this discussion. I won't mention airlines and I won't mention credit cards, but I fly a certain airline pretty regularly. And I had to fly into Nebraska for something, and they bumped me and wanted me to drive. They drove me 30 miles to another airport. Long story short, I helped them out, and then they gave me a $750 um, gift card from a certain very prominent credit card company. So it was worth it for me. I didn't have anything scheduled today. It just was a few hour delay. It was worth that for me. So get home, put the gift card in the drawer, forget about it. Think about it like 6 months later, look at the thing and see on the back that it was only good for a month or two. So now at $750 that's like expired. I've never heard of an expired gift card, but anyway. So I call the airline, they say, "Oh, you got to talk to the credit card company." Talk to the credit card company and they're like, "Yeah, we can't help you." And it was just so odd because after like 25 minutes on the phone with this lady, I'm like, I feel like this isn't going anywhere. Can I talk to somebody that can make a decision? And she said to me, Ryan, she said, you know what? I already did talk to them and they have the same answer. So, needless to say, and again, out of respect, just even though I'd love to say who it was and tell you not to shop them, but it's like that's what the world is used to. They're trying to rather than always be helpful, rooted in trust. Rather than that, it's like trying to get out of things. I feel like we're in this society of trying to get out of things rather than try to do things. So. Do you guys see yourself doing things that, like you said, hooking up printers? Do you find yourself doing things outside of your normal day to day? You're doing it to serve the customer?
So we run a ton of vendor management. And what that means is that we are your single point of accountability for anything technology related.
Gotcha.
And so, for example, somebody called the other week to hook up internet-based air fresheners, right?
What?
And
Never heard of it.
absolutely, at a different sense for different times of the day. It's actually really cool. Yeah,
What?
yeah, it turned out great.
Holy
But we
cow.
were like, absolutely, help onboard them, get them onto the Wi-Fi,
Sure.
set up the sense, like,
Holy
you know,
cow.
but is that in, as we did our statement of work, is that in our scope?
Yeah.
Actually, it is
Wow.
because
There
we
you go.
cover anything that's connected to the internet.
Sure.
And
Sure.
we will call the internet provider on your behalf. We'll call your telephone provider on your behalf. We'll call the electric company on your behalf if we need to, or do a screen share or a FaceTime and
Yeah.
have somebody go down to the electrical panel and look for flipped fuses.
Yeah. Wow.
We do whatever it takes to help our customer, right? So when we will always be helpful, you know, it goes beyond just, oh, your power's out. Oh,
Yeah.
well, until it comes back on, it's like, oh, well, hey, here's the things that we can do. First of all, if you have a VoIP telephone system, we can, get your soft phone loaded on your cell phone so you can actually make telephone calls while the power is out. We have uh, some some systems where some battery backup power where we can go in and we can actually print out the schedule so you can call people that may be coming in for the day or tomorrow
Sure.
and have them reschedule. We have
Wow.
a list of things that we can help our people with, and we always want to do everything that we can, to help people especially when somebody is in need, when somebody's in pain and they're hurting, that is
Yeah.
exactly what we live for, is to jump
Sure.
on top of that, help relieve the pain. Oh my God, my computers don't work. Don't worry, call
Yeah.
Third Coast. They'll take
Yeah.
care of you. And
Well,
and
that's
that's,
just such a powerful place to be. And think about, for the listener, think about that if you were the person they called in your industry when they were in pain. I mean, to Ryan's point, when people are in pain, it's like if you break your arm, you don't go to three different hospitals and ask what their lead times are, ask what their pricing is, ask what their availability, check out how nice the rooms are. No, you broke your arm, man. You want to get that thing fixed as soon as possible. And I love the fact that I wrote the word simplify down because I think it's like a pretty simple scenario where you're that key contact, you're simplifying it for the customer. And I think whatever industry people are in that are listening, if you can simplify it for your client, you're going to do them such a service because they rely on you. Hey, this all I know is that my computer doesn't work, Ryan. That's all I know. I don't understand anything else. And it's always funny, like the first thing they ask is like, is it plugged in? And which I love. They start at the rudimentary and work their way up. If they ask me anything outside of that, I'd be like, I don't even know. So I think a great strategy for the listener is to be that expert by simplifying, whatever it is that you have. And computers and cybersecurity are one of the most complicated things that I know of, and I know nothing about it. But I think that that's really a powerful space to be. So as we start to land, I want to say we do what we say was one of them. Rooted in trust, we will always be helpful. Knowledge and expertise. Expect a fun experience. That's like an oxymoron for me. I mean, how can computers and fun unless you're a gamer or something? They really don't. That doesn't align with me. So how do you help? I mean, how does the fun, obviously you shared a bunch of that stuff. Is it just a matter of making this simple and you're going to fix it so that I don't have to worry about it? Is that trying to understand the fun part for you and where that comes in?
yeah, that's certainly part of it. But you can hear it in people's voices when you call them. And if they have a friendly tone, and they're legitimately there to be helpful. Like our office manager, Alyssa, she takes the majority of the calls that they come in. She is amazing. And people love Alyssa. I hear it all the time,
There you go.
you know. And that is what I'm talking about. You need to you become um the the people that you surround yourself with, you become like them.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So as you're looking at hiring your team and bringing people on, you need to make sure that you're bringing on people that have the same core values as you do. And if you can tell that somebody isn't going to align with your core values, if they're not honest, or, they just don't seem happy, um, they're, if they don't do what they say, like, those people
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
place in your organization. And an excellent way to lose a good employee is to keep a bad one.
Right.
And it's certainly, what you want to do is, vet your employees out, right at the onset.
Sure.
And you know, be very slow to hire. Make sure that they are a good fit. And when people come in, as we're hiring in, we bring them on very slowly. For the first week, they don't even get in any of the systems.
Sure.
You know, we vet them out. We make sure that, they have a good personality. And that's the number one thing that we teach to the candidates. And we do quite a bit with WCTC, at Waukesha County Community Technical College. And I go down there and speak to the students, to their in their cybersecurity program, and we also support all of their job fairs, and to drive it into these students that, hey, the number one thing that I hire on is personality, right? And sure, you got this great resume, all of these wonderful classes, that's all great. But the number one thing that I look for is for somebody to be able to walk up, look me in the eye, say hello, have an intelligent conversation. And that is the type of person that, we want on our side.
Sure.
And yeah, those are the types of people that we hire.
Well, and I think that's a great little spot for people listening is maybe come go to your local college and become that expert so that, number one, you're seeing a lot of talent come through, which potentially you can utilize in the future growth opportunities. But number two, these people are going to most likely become clients as well down the road. So, again, a tidbit of information for people listening is don't just wait until they're actually out in the workforce, go and jump in a little bit earlier, high school, college, whatever applies for you. So that's awesome. We agree 100%. We use DISC for personality assessments before hiring because I can tell you whatever I want, in an interview, and you kind of have to believe me. I'm a
Yeah.
team player. I love customers. I'm this, I'm that. And then, we hire the person and then we find out 6 months later that, oh my gosh, you weren't at all what you said you were. And now I have a round peg, square hole situation. And now I'm stuck as a business owner going, do I keep putting funds in? I'm 6 months in, I'm, 50,000, $75,000 in, whatever that looks like. I'm a lot of money in. Do I want to pull the plug and start over? And I think this is where a lot of times we get stuck because we as business owners, we've already invested the money. Let's just try to keep whittling that square peg, see if we can turn it into a round, peg for that round hole. Adding an assessment into your process really helps to be able to hire for personality. Because let's face it, most of the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis, you can train, right? You can train people how to do the technical stuff. It's hard to train somebody to have a good personality. It's
Oh
hard,
man, Dave,
you
you just hit it. That
know.
is it. That
Yep,
is always what I tell them.
yep,
I can't train you to have a personality.
Right.
I can train all of the technical aspects. I can
Yep.
teach you routing and switching and firewalls and cybersecurity and how to make all of these systems sing and dance. That
Yep.
is easy. I can teach anybody that. To teach somebody to smile and crack a joke,
Right.
like, can't
Yep.
do it. I
Yep.
can't teach somebody that. I need to
Yep.
hire somebody with those soft skills.
Yep.
And
Hard
it
to
is so important to
hard to teach
have a
empathy.
foundation.
It's hard to teach communication. There's a lot of those pieces that are tough. That's what we do once people, are on board with. That's what we do is try to train that. But yeah, you're way farther ahead if you have that on the onset. That's what you're looking for. So, you mentioned cybersecurity. So a couple questions before I let you go.
Mhm.
One of the last core value is safety will never be compromised. And I wanted to say that for last because you have on your website a spot where people can go and fill out kind of a, a quiz or an assessment to determine where their cybersecurity issues are. So kind of fill us in on that so that if somebody wants to go there, they can see where they're at in the cybersecurity world.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, what we're talking about here is cyber hygiene, and we want to make sure that people are taking care of themselves and doing the right things. We're essentially what's on the website is we have a place where it has a whole page full of resources. So one of them is actually a cyber hygiene assessment, and that's for a business owner, and that does an excellent job of going through a list of questions. And really, I always enjoy actually going through it with the business owner, because really it's just a point of conversation to be able to describe, hey, here's the question, right? Do all your employees have 2FA turned on? Right? That is such an easy button. It cuts down security incidents by over 90%, and it costs very little. And so you really get excellent return on investment by turning on 2FA. And it really helps keep things safe. And it's absolutely the thing to do with any type of web-based system. And not just for businesses, but for normal people, which is, when I do security awareness training, it flows from the business into people's personal lives, which is wonderful. And then they go home and they spread it to their kids and their grandparents. And, that older generation is getting targeted. And
Sure.
man, it is getting so difficult
Yeah.
to protect them. And so if you do have some older people that you're looking after, make sure that you're educating them. Hey, there's going to be people calling, and there's going to be emails that you're getting and text messages of people that are asking you to do things. Make sure that you do not.
Right? Don't listen to them. So that's crazy. So it's thirdcoastit.com and then go to the resources tab and Dana will put a link in the show notes for you to be able to access it there. But again, thirdcoastit.com and then jump on the resources tab and there you are able to take that cybersecurity. There's a new one for me, cybersecurity hygiene. Never heard of it before. So you quit to putting words together that I've never heard together before because that's creepy to me. I'm
Well,
like
it's kind of
cybersecurity
like
is
brushing your
hygiene.
teeth, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, what was a tip of the day here as we wrap this up today? Tip of the day for you. Maybe it's something that we said, maybe it's something we haven't covered, but for people listening today, Ryan, what would your tip of the day be?
My tip of the day would be to uh, make sure that you're doing what it takes to stay safe. You know, don't rely on just a computer company to say, "Oh yeah, we got you covered." Like really, you need to understand that it's a team effort. It takes security awareness training with your staff. You know, as these threats are coming in these days, they're just not coming in through the computer, right? They are coming at you in all directions.
Yeah,
And so you need to put training into your business with your employees. And that is going to help uh, keep your business safe. And that is, you know, just a big part that, you know, people are still closing that gap.
sure.
We we have a wonderful program that helps, you know, keep that on the rails. You know, it provides regular security awareness training. You know, it comes in through your email. There's dark web scanning. There's phishing campaigns. You know, there's a little exam for prospective employees to take. You know, there's an annual video to watch. There's a security news feed to come through. It's all gamified to make it fun for the users, which also aligns with our core values,
Sure.
right? The products and services that we're using, you know, we also try to mirror them up into, you know, what we believe in.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be in the Milwaukee area. This is there's no opportunity. It doesn't need to be in person. So anybody anywhere on the planet can work with Third Coast IT, correct?
We do have customers on a national basis, although we do try and keep the majority of our customers within an hour of Milwaukee.
Sure.
So
Perfect.
that is, yeah, that's part of the personal touch that we have with our people.
Sure.
We want to get to know them. We want to be able to go and see them.
Yeah.
And the majority of what we do can be done remotely. But the truth is that the best service that we can give to people is is always done on site.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Well, hopefully, listening to this today has encouraged you, energized you to think about core values. If you don't have them, the importance of them, and making sure that your client aligns with your core values, because again, nothing worse than having that misalignment. So, for people listening, if they want to learn more about you, Ryan, if they want to connect with you, if they have a question about your core values, how you did it, maybe they have a cybersecurity question, a computer question. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
You can call me at 414-671-9662. You can email me at ryan@thirdcoastit.com. You can go to my website and do the contact form. And those three are going to be the easiest ways to get at me.
Awesome. So again, please don't just gloss over the fact that you don't have core values. Don't gloss over the fact that maybe you have them, nobody's using them. Make sure that you are showing them at the hiring time, review them at your review time, review them in your meetings with your company. The more that you understand what those are and the more that the team understands it, the better the client is going to be served. So thanks, Ryan, so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for not geeking out. I was super nervous that you were going to go crazy. So thanks for keeping it at the third grade level for me, because I would have had to do the timeout sign because I was like, dude, I have no clue what you're saying. So I appreciate that. And thanks for the time. And again, if you want to learn more about Ryan, jump on thirdcoastit.com and he'll be happy to help. So again, thank you so much for this, and can't wait to keep learning from you.
Yeah, we're here to be helpful, Dave. And thank you so much for having us on. We appreciate you.